Hello and welcome to the Pivot Tables Advanced video. This is the third video in a three-part series. Links to the beginners and intermediate videos are in the description below and at the end of this video. Also be sure to watch until the end for a bonus tip. In this video, we'll go over summarize values by, show values as, and various refresh options including refresh, refresh all, change data source, table, and auto refresh. Now, your Excel may appear slightly different depending on your version and if you're using Windows or Apple iOS, but it should mostly look and function the same. We have some data here, and we have a short pivot table based on that data that presently just has customer and total sales information. You can add calculated fields to your pivot table. The values section already contains the total sales field with the sum calculation. Let's drag down another instance of the total sales field to the values section. Now, let's go to that new column in the pivot table. We'll right-click in the cell, select Summarize Values By. We'll go ahead and select Average. Now let's double-click in the label and rename this to Sales Average. Now let's change the number format to currency. Double-click the label, select number, select currency, click OK, and click OK. Now let's repeat that process using a slightly different approach to add maximum sales. Single-click values. We'll drag down another instance of the total sales field. And to the right of this new field, we'll click here. We'll rename it here to Sales Max. We'll select Max, select number, currency, OK, and OK. You can also add calculated fields to your pivot tables as percentages or other calculations using the Show Values As option. Let's drag down another instance of the total sales field to the Values section. Next, let's right-click, select Show Values As, select Percentage of Grand Total. Now we'll double-click the label, and we'll rename this as and click OK. You can also bring up these Show Values As options by clicking to the right of the field in the Values section, and then select Show Data As, then select this field, and it'll give you a number of different options. You can go ahead and pause your video if you like to read through all these options. Next, let's go over Refresh All. You might change or add data and need to update your pivot table. We'll go over 4 options. Option 1 is Refresh All. Let's change some existing information. Sergio has the highest percentage of total sales at 47%. We'll go here and we'll update the units sold. Now we'll single-click in the pivot table, go to the Data tab, and go ahead and click on Refresh All. As you can see, Sergio went from 47% all the way down to 17%. Option 2 is Change Data Source. Now let's add some new data with a new customer to a new row at the bottom. Okay, now let's single-click in the pivot table, go to the Data tab, and click Refresh. As you can see, the new customer was not brought into the pivot table. So what we might need to do here is change the data source. And the way we do that is we go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab, and we select Change Data Source, and we'll go ahead and drag over this entire section, then click OK. And as you can see, the new customer information has been added to the pivot table. Option 3 is creating a table. Click in your data, then click Control-T if you're in Windows or Command-T if you're on an Apple iOS device. Click OK. Now this has been converted to a table. I'll go at the bottom here and add brand new customer. Then I'll go back into my pivot table, single click, click data, then go ahead and click refresh. As you can see, the pivot table has been updated now with the new information. Please note that you can also refresh by simply right-clicking and then clicking your refresh button. And if you have multiple pivot tables in your spreadsheet, when you go to refresh all, and if you just want to refresh one table, you would simply click refresh and not refresh all. Finally, option 4. You can set pivot table to auto refresh when the file is opened. Right-click any cell in the pivot table, go down to Pivot Table Options, select your Data tab, and then click the Refresh Data when opening file checkbox, and then click OK. Now this pivot table will auto-refresh the next time you open up the spreadsheet. Okay, now it's time for the bonus tip. As you can see, alternating row colors were added when we changed the data to a table. If you didn't want these colors or wanted to change them to a different design, go ahead and click in the table, go to Table in the top ribbon tab, and on the right are some design options. If you don't want any, click here, or select from one of these other designs. That's it for this video. You now have some advanced pivot table skills. You can watch the beginners and intermediate videos in this series by clicking on these links or links in the description. Remember to like and subscribe to receive notice of future videos. Thank you for watching.